Today I'm going to start a new topic, which is one of the important topic of human resource management, and it is known as training and development. So I am just going to how this training and development will be helpful for the organizations and for the development of the organization in different manners. Because if we talk about the training and development, one thing which comes into our mind is that we are giving training to somebody, and then training and development in detail. I just want to give you an impression of that first of all we have to understand few things. Number one is business strategy, a plan that integrates the company's goal, policies, and action. That means that whatever the plans and whatever the goals or policies and actions companies are planning to take, this is known as a strategy which we have to formulate, and on the basis of that we have to go for those things. The strategy influences how the company uses the physical capital, financial capital, and human capital. That means that whenever we are going for an strategies, this clearly indicates that there are three things which we have to take into consideration. Number one is the physical capital, that how much money we are having. Then the how much human resources we are having, and then what physical resources we are having, on the basis of which we are going to make the strategy for the end product which we are intending to send into the market. Then second point is goals, what the company hopes to achieve in the medium and long term future is known as goals. So if somebody asks you that what is goal, so you have to just give the answer that it is the companies hope to achieve the medium and long range terms. That means that whatever the strategies they are making for the long term or the short term in future is known as goal. So if we talk about two things, one is business strategy, it is nothing but it is basically the company's goal, policies, and the actions, and it influences how company is going to use their resources, finances, and human capital. And the second point is goal. That means it is the hope of the company to achieve the medium and long term future planning. Now, the next point in this is if strategy has a particular strong influence on determining few things. Number one, the amount of training devoted to current and future job skills. That means that whatever the strategies we are making, it total depends upon the training which we are providing to the people who are working in the organization. Because in the organization there are different type of jobs, and they require a lot of skill and the knowledge for different type of jobs which are performed in the organization. So it is totally depend upon the devotion to the current or the future job skills, the extent to which training is customized for the particular need of the employee, or is developed based on the need of a team, unit, or a division. This means that they are saying that the training is customized in such a manner that maybe we are giving a training to the individual people, maybe we are giving training to the uh, team, we are giving training to the whole division. It total depends upon the need, what is the actual need of the organization, and how we are going to train the people for that. Next, they are saying that training is restricted to specific groups of employees or open to all the employees. Yeah, these are the questions which we have to talk about it. That in most of the cases, it is said that the trainings are usually given to the either set of individuals, or is it open for each and every employee who are working in the organization. So it is very important to understand this thing, that how trainings are going to be provided to the people. Then strategies, that means the business strategies are having a strong influence on determining few things, whether training in planned and systematically administered, provided only when problems occur, or developed spontaneously as a reaction to what competitors are doing. So there are 3 points which they are talking about, that they are saying whenever we are making the business strategy, they are saying when we talk about the training in that, So first point comes whether it is a planned and systematic administered training, or whether it is provided to only those time when the problems are occurring, or it is developed spontaneously as a reaction of what competitors are doing. So in the simple terms, if we say that trainings are planned in systematic manner, they are planned whether it is needed at the time of problems. Second is they are developed spontaneously because we are observing the competitors that what exactly they are doing in their organization to enhance the knowledge, skills, and productivity of the organization. In the same situation here also, that it is a spontaneous process after looking at the competitors level. The importance placed on training compared to other human resource management practices such as selection and compensation. That means that whenever we are selecting anybody in the organization, and when we are deciding about the compensation, at that time also we are going for the training, because we are comparing this training to the human resources who are going to be absorbed in the organization for doing the particular specialized jobs. The things they are saying that if you see that what strategies are doing, strategies are nothing but these are basically dependent on one of the part of the business strategies, which is training, and it is importantly placed as compared to the human resource management of the organization at the time of selection and the compensation finalization. Then there is a chart which I have given to you. It is known as evaluation of training role. What are the basic evaluation of training role? Number one is we have to create a training event within the organization. Then we emphasizes on the learning of that training, that from the training how many people are going to learn and what they are going to learn. Then we have to create and share the knowledge among the people, right? It is related to the performance results and the business needs of the organization. That means what business require, what are the basic needs of the business, and how you are going to do this thing. You can only do this thing with the help of the training. You have to give learning emphasis to those people who are not able to get the uh, training properly for that particular product, and you have to create and share the knowledge among the employees who want this type of training, and it will result in the performance of the organization as required by the business in the organization. Then if we talk about the evaluation of training role, so let's take one point. First of all, we are going to talk about the learning, the acquisition of knowledge by individual employees or group of employees who are willing to apply that knowledge in their job, in making decisions and accomplishing tasks for the company. That means that if somebody asks you what do you mean by learning in training, learning is nothing but it is the acquisition of knowledge by individual employees or group of employees who are willing to apply those knowledge in their respective jobs to make the decisions and accomplishing the task of the company. That means, in simple terms, we can say that learning is nothing but it is gathering the knowledge, and after gathering the knowledge which is given to either single employee or to the group of employees, in this situation these employees are in a position to make the decisions how to get the task completed, and in which particular effective terms they are going to complete the task. This is the learning process. So if somebody asks you, you have to remember only one thing, that learning is nothing but it is the acquisition of knowledge or gathering of knowledge to make individual employee or the group of employees such so that they can take the decisions for accomplishing the task given by the company. Then what is knowledge? What individuals or teams of employees know, as well as company rules, process, tools, and routine. it is either tacit knowledge or explicit knowledge. That means that they are saying regarding the knowledge is concerned that it is individual or team of employees know about the company rules, process, tools, and routines. That means whatever the things are going into the organization while you are performing the job, that is known as knowledge. And it is of two type. It is tacit knowledge or the explicit knowledge. That means it is related with the uh, knowledges. I would like to describe those things. What is explicit knowledge? Knowledge that can be formalized, codified, and communicated. That means if somebody asks you what do you mean by explicit knowledge means that it is formalized and it can be codified also, and it is communicated to other people also. This is known as explicit knowledge. Explicit, as you know, that explicit means you are dividing the things in different parts. Then tacit knowledge means that personal knowledge based on individual experience that is difficult to explain to others. So if you talk about the tacit knowledge, these are the knowledge which individual is having with their own experience working in different jobs, and it is very difficult to explain these knowledge to other people, because the individual who are having this type of tacit knowledge, they can do one thing, they can implement those things with their experience, but they cannot describe this particular knowledge. So there is a difference between explicit and tacit knowledge. As I have told you that explicit knowledge is a formulated knowledge, it can be codified and it can be communicated to the people. And tacit knowledge on the other hand is nothing but it is a personal knowledge based on individual experiences. Then key capabilities needed to implement learning strategies. Number one, what are the basic capabilities which need to be implemented while we are talking about the learning strategies? Number one, alignment of learning goals to the business goals. That means we have to align, we have to see that whatever our learning goals are these goals are directly related with the business goals. That means whatever the goals are given by or set up by the organization and whatever we are learning with the help of the training, are those the same thing which we are doing it. Then measurement of the overall business impact of the learning function. That means that whatever we are learning with the help of the training, we have to measure that how the overall business impact is going to be affected on that. That means that what are the impact on business when we are talking about the learning functions. Then movement of learning outside the company to include customers, vendors, and suppliers. This is another key capabilities when we are talking about the learning strategies, that while we are learning the things with the help of the training, as I have told you just now, it can also be implemented outside the company to include the customers, vendors, and the suppliers. That means that whatever we are learning during the training period, we can implement those things on different people like customers, vendors, and suppliers. They are from outside the company. Then a focus on developing competencies for the most critical jobs. Then we are talking about learning. The other capability is that we can focus on developing the competencies for the most critical job. What do you mean by competencies? Competencies means that in which particular specified field you are absolutely 100% sure about it, that okay, you are competent enough to deal with this type of job. So that means these key capabilities, when we are talking about the learning strategies are concerned, we can focus on developing the competencies for the most critical jobs which are available in the market. Then we are going to talk about the next point, which is the integration of learning with other human resource functions such as knowledge management, performance support, and talent management. That means when we are dealing with the learning strategies, we This is another capability that we can integrate. Integrate means that we can combine the things together with the human resources functions such as knowledge management, performance support, and the talent management. These are the three things which comes under the human resource functions. So we can integrate those things with the learning strategies while we are going for the training. Then training delivery approaches that includes classroom as well as e-learning. It is usually said that there is another capability of this learning strategy that while we are going for the training, it can be done either in the classroom or it can be e-learning process so that the things will be easier for the people who are not able to join the classrooms. Then we can design and deliver of leadership development courses. In this training program, we can design and develop some sort of leadership courses also for the employees who are working in the organization. As you know that in the organization, it is very, very important to understand that there are people who are having the capacity of leadership. So how we are going to enhance or develop those capacity? We can do this with the help of the training on those people. Then there is another chart which says that strategic training and development process. What is the basic strategic training and development process is? Number one is business strategy, as we have talked initially. This includes three things. Number one is mission, values, and goals of the organization. Then strategic training and development initiatives. This includes diversify the learning portfolio, improve customer services, accelerate the pace of employees learning, and capture and share the knowledge. So if the question comes that explain strategic training and development initiatives, you have to say that this will include that diversification of the learning portfolio, that we can diversify the learning in different other manners. Then improve the customer service. If we are capable enough with the help of the training, that how you can talk to the customer and how you can improve the relationship with the customer, you can do under this heading. Then we can accelerate the pace of employees learning, that how we can increase the learning process for the employees, and we can capture and share the knowledge. Of course, when we are getting the strategic training and development initiatives we are taking, we can always capture and share the knowledge. Third training and development process which is related with strategy is the training and development activities. What are the activities which we can undertake? Number one is web based training. We can do that. Then make development planning mandatory. That means that we have to make a development planning for the individual and for the organization, which is compulsory for each and every person. Then we can develop the websites for knowledge sharing. In the organization, we can develop the website for the organization. And why we are developing these websites? Because we just want to spread out the knowledge among the people. Then increase amount of customer service training, that we can increase the customer service training also. Then metrics that show value of training. This is the fourth part of training and development process. Metric that show value of training, under this comes the learning process, performance improvement, that how the performance are going to be improved when we are taking the training and development process. Then we can in a position to reduce the customer complaints also. Then we can reduce the turnover also, and employee satisfaction is also there. That means that while looking at the metric which shows the value of the training, that whatever the training we have received, what are the basic value of those training? It is related with the performance improvement, customer complaints, reduced turnover, and employees satisfaction. So if you see that if any question comes, you can in a position to give the answer for that, that what is strategic training and development process. So you have to remember only 4 points. Number one is business strategy. Number two is strategic training and development initiatives. Number three is training and development activities. And number four is metric that shows the value of training. Then process says, now we are just elaborating the things. Mission, what is mission? Mission is the company's reason for existing. That why company is existing, this is come under the mission point. Then what is the vision of the organization, the picture of the future that the company wants to achieve, this is the vision. Then what are the values, what the company stands for, that means that what are the values. We usually discuss this thing that we have to see the values of the organization and we have to see the values of the individual also. That is nothing but it is the thing which says that what the company stands for. Then SWOT analysis, an analysis of the company's operating environment. I'm quite sure that everybody know about the SWOT analysis, that it is the analysis of company's environment to identify the opportunities and threats as well as the internal analysis of company's strengths and weaknesses. This is important when we are talking about the strategic training and development, because if we are identifying internally about the strength and weaknesses of the company, automatically we can develop an analysis to find out the opportunities and threats which are prevailing in the market apart from the organization. Then apart from this we have to see the company competitors, that how many competitors are there and how we are going to develop some strategies with the help of the training and development so that the employees of the organization are in a position to develop the strength and the techniques to overpower those competitors very effectively. Then strategic training and development initiatives. Under this it comes, it is learning related action that a company should take to help it achieve its business strategies. That means strategic training and development initiative means that it is a learning related actions. That means a company should take to help it achieve its business strategy. That means whatever the business strategies company is going to make, they can take the help of this learning related actions or strategic training and development initiatives. With the help of that, the company can prepare a specific and appropriate business strategy for the organization. Then we are going to talk about another point which is known as metric, how metric are used to identify trainees satisfaction with the training program. As you know that we are always talking about training and development, we have talked about the strategic training and development. Now here we are going to find out that how we are going to find out the value of the training. That means that we have to see that after getting the training, whether the trainees are satisfied with the training program or not. This is one thing. Second, whether the trainees knowledge, skill, ability or attitude changes as a result of the program participation. That means that we are in a position to identify this thing, that whether the trainee who have got the training are in a position to develop their skills and knowledge, and is there the attitudes changes towards the program participation. That means that if they participated in the program, are their attitude changes towards the working pattern of the organization. Then we have to see that whether the program resulted in business related outcomes for the company. That means that whatever the training we are giving to the employees, is it seen that the end result is appropriate related with the business related outcome, or we have to see that how we can improve the training process so that it will be related directly with the business outcome. Then balance scorecard, this is another part of the training process. This means the performance measurement that provides managers with a chance to look at the overall company performance or the performance of department or function. This is a means of performance measurement, and it can be provided by the managers with a chance to look at the overall company performances or the performance of the individual departments. So this is the role of managers to give you an idea about the balance scorecard regarding the performance of the company or the department. Then it considers four perspectives: customer internal, innovation, learning, and financial. That means that when we are talking about the balance scorecard, there are 4 points which we have to take into consideration. Number one is the customer internal satisfaction. Our customers are satisfied with the things? Then what are the innovative ideas we are putting up in the organization to develop a new product? And what are the learning procedures which are going to take place? And what are the financials which we are going to incur while developing the employees skill and knowledge, so that they will perform much more better for the organization. There are organizational characteristics that influence the training. This is also important point, which says that how characters of organizations are going to influence the training. Number one is top management support. The CEO is responsible for the vision and being a sponsor, governor, faculty learner, and marketing agent. That means the top management support is there. Definitely the training will be going to be very, very good. Whether it is for the faculty, whether it is for the learners, or whether it is for the marketing agents. The degree to which a company's units or businesses are integrated affect the kind of training that take place. That means that they are saying that it depends upon the units of the organization which are directly integrated affects the kind of training that take place. So it is very, very important to understand this thing. Then the global presence. What are the global presence of our organization, which can influence the training also, and the business condition. What are the basic business condition of our organization? So these are the few characteristics which we have to follow, and on the basis of that, we can influence the training pattern for individual employees. The next is the human resource management practices. The management activities which are related to investments, staffing performances, management, training and compensation and benefits. This is also another characteristics of the organization which may influence the training process. They are saying that the management activities which are related with the investment means that you are investing in the human resources to whom you are selecting for your organization better performances, and the training are giving to them, and the compensations and the benefits which they are providing to the employees. This is also one of the organizational characters which can influence the training pattern also. Then we can talk about another point, that is staffing strategy. The company's decision regarding where to find the employee, how to select them, and the desired mix of employees, skill and status. That means that staffing strategy also another character of the organization, which says that from where you are going to find the staff, how to select them, and the desired mix of employees, skill and status. Then next is human resource planning. The identification, analysis, forecasting and planning of changes needed in the human resources area to help the company meet changing business conditions. That means when we talk about the human resource planning, it is very, very clear that what are the analysis we are doing it, what are the forecasting we are doing it, what are the planning we are doing it as per the changes required by the present market scenario and their human resources, and we have to see that how we are going to align those things with the changing business conditions in the market, because it is very, very important to understand this thing that when there is a changes in the business environment, you have to be very, very careful about it. And according to the analysis and forecasting, you are in a position to identify and find out that how many people you require and how many skilled and knowledgeable people you require for your organization, and which type of training you are going to provide to these people. Then next is uh, implication of a staffing strategy for training. So I have given a chart here which give different things, that what are the things which we have to do. On the left hand side, if you see that it is related with the external labor market, supply flow, and the internal labor market. Now I have divided this chart into four points. Portraits is the development focus on avoiding obsolescence, no systematic development. Then key strategic characters are survival, struggle for resources, and if we talk about the industries, these they are talking about the natural resources. Then if we talk about the clubs, in the development part, we are looking for the job rotation, special assignments with the career path, and strategic characteristic says that monopoly and high regulated, and industries we can say utilities, nursing homes, and public sector. On the other hand, if we talk about the baseball team, if we talk about the development process for the training for the baseball team, what will we have to see? Use of job experience, no development related to the succession planning. Then what are the key strategic areas are? It is basically innovation and creativity. And if we talk about the industries, it is advertising, consulting companies, biomedical researches. Then if we talk about the academy is concerned, it is development, assessment, and sponsorship. Then use of upward, lateral, and downward moves within and across the functions, and the key strategic characters are dominant in the market. And last is the industries, that is consumer products and pharmaceutical. So try to understand one thing, that what are the basic implications when we are staffing, making the staffing strategy for the training. So in this, we have to see that how we are going to supply the things from the external labor market and from the internal labor market. Then we have to see the assignment flow, that how we are going to do it. It is the individual contribution or the group contribution. So the 4 points which I have given to you, that this can give you a clear idea about it, that how we are going to make the staffing strategy for the training and what are the basic implications on that. Then extent of unionization. As you know, that in the organization there are a lot of unions, trade unions, who are making an impact on that. So here they are saying that unions' interest in training has resulted in joint union management programs designed to help employees prepare for new jobs. That means that wherever there are union, sometimes it happens that union and management, they come together and then make a joint program for training for their employees for the enhancement of their knowledge, so that they can prepare for the new jobs also. Then staff involvement in training and development. If managers are not involved in the training process, training may be unrelated to business needs. Yes, they are saying that it is very important that your staff should be a part of the training program, because if they are not there, it is useless that you are going any doing any training, because it is not going to serve the business needs purposes. So whatever the training we are giving, please try to understand this thing, that it is directly related with the business needs of the organization. So whatever the organization require, according to that, we have to work on that. Then staff involvement in training and development. If line managers are aware of what development activities can achieve, they will be more willing to become involved in it. That means that if the line manager, that means the first line manager, if they are really understanding this thing, that if training are given to these people, they are going to do the wonders. So they automatically involve themselves to make the training more effective, and they try to push their employees to go for the training on particular job. Then an emerging trend is that companies expect employees to initiate the training process. Nowadays, it is usually seen that employees are initiating for the training instead of the management. This is another thing which is coming into the picture, and it is giving a very good effect on that. Then, if we talk about the models of organizing the training department, so centralized training means that training and development programs, resources, and professionals are primarily housed in one location, and decisions about training, investment programs, and delivery methods are made from that department. That means that in this training and development programs, whatever the resources are there and whatever the professionals are there, they are located in one place, and decision about the training, investment programs, and delivery methods are made for the particular department with the help of these people, which is known as centralized training. It helps the companies to better integrate for the different programs for developing leaders and managing talent with training and learning during the time of changes. That means they are saying that it helps the organization at the time of changes. It is usually seen that they can integrate the program in such manner that they can develop the leaders and managing the talent with the help of the training program, which can help the organization to grow in a better manner. This is the centralized training part. Then what are the basic faculty models? Look a lot like the structure of a college. Training staff are expert in the areas in which they train. I think these are very simple points. That's why I am not going to describe. I'm just reading out this thing so that you are in a position to understand this thing. The training department's plans are easily determined by staff expertise. That means whoever the expert staff for that particular training, the plans can make according to that regarding the training is concerned. That the training functions may not meet the need of the organization. This is another point. And the trainers may be unaware of business problems or unwilling to adapt material to fit a business need. Sometimes it happens in faculty model that the trainers, they are not well versed with the training procedures, and they are not very much willing to adopt the materials to fit a business needs. So this is another negative point on part of the faculty model. Then what are the customer model? Responsible for the training needs of one division or function of the company. In the customer model, they are responsible for the training needs for either division or a function of the company. Then training programs are developed more in line with the particular need of a business group. As I have already told you that whatever the need of the business group is, the training models are made according to that. Then trainers are expected to be aware of the business needs and to update courses and content to reflect them. That means that trainers should be well aware about the things, and they should be knowing this thing that how they are going to put up the things in front of the trainees so that they can integrate with the business needs of the organization. And it involves considerable time program vary greatly in effectiveness and design may be poor. They are saying that it involves considerable time. That means time is too much taken while we are preparing the model for that, and programs vary from the effectiveness as per the training programs are concerned. Then metrics model. What is metrics model? The trainers has the responsibility of being both a training expert and functional expert. It helps ensure that training is linked to the needs of the business. That means that whatever training we are making, the trainers are responsible for both the things. That is the training, they are working as a training expert and the functional experts also, which says that how you are going to implement the things in the organization, and it is going to ensure that training is linked to the need of the business, and the trainer gain expertise in understanding a specific business function. Then trainers will have more time demands and conflict because they report to two managers. This is also one of the problem that when trainers are giving the training to the people, it is usually seen that trainers are reporting to two different managers. Then it will be a conflict between the people. Then next is the business embedded model. It is characterized by five competencies strategies. direction, product design, structural versatility, product delivery, and accountability for the result. So, if we talk about the business embedded model, it is basically related with five competencies, or you can say competencies strategies, which are the direction, what direction you are giving to the organization, product design, which product you are going to design, structural versatility, that means that what infrastructure you have for that, product delivery, how you are going to deliver the product in the market, and the accountability for the result, that how you are going to complete the work and you are accountable for that. These are the business embedded model. It is customer focused when compared to the traditional training department is concerned. That means these model are basically related with the customer. So whatever the trainings are prepared, it is prepared keeping in mind the customer uh, satisfaction model. Then the next point which we are going to talk about is what are the marketing of the training functions. Companies sell training services for the following reasons. Some businesses are so good at a particular aspect of their operation that other companies are asking for their expertise. Yes, there are some businesses who are doing very well. In that situation, there are some companies who are not doing well. They ask the expertise of that particular company to give training to their employees so that they can also perform better in the market. Then other companies aim training at their own customer or dealers. There are some companies who are giving training to their dealers and customers. Why? Because they want to make their dealers and customer aware about the know-how of the product. Then in some cases, the training department sells unused seats in training program or e-learning courses. They are saying in some cases there are training department who sell the unused seats in training programs or e-learning courses. That means that if the seats are not filled by the employees who require the training, so they are selling those seats to the other people also. Well, then another word which you may aware about it, outsourcing training. The use of an outside company that take complete responsibility and control of some training or development activities, or that take over all or most of a company's training, including administration, design, delivery, and development. Outsourcing training means that these are the companies who are taking the total responsibility of the training and development program of the organization. It is related with the administration, design, delivery, and the development. So these are the things which we have to take into consideration when we are talking about the outsourcing training program. Why companies outsource training? This is another question which may come in the uh, you know common discussions. First is cost saving. If you are doing your training in your own organization, it will you know cost you very high. If you are outsourcing, I think the cost is quite low. Then it is time saving also, so that company can all directly focus on the business strategy instead of thinking about the other things. Then improvements in compliances and accuracy in training mandated to comply with federal, state, or local rules. That means that in this situation, there is going to be improvement in the compliance and accuracy in the training mandate. Then the lack of capability within the company to meet the learning demands. This is also one of the reasons that companies are not having full-fledged things so that they can give training to the people. That's why they are outsourcing the thing. And the desire to access best training practices. This is another point, that they are giving training to their employee for some specialized people or expert people. Why? Because they want that their employee should be given the best trainings available in the market. Then there are two reasons companies do not outsource the training. As now I have talked to you about why company go for the outsourcing, and now I am talking about the reasons why companies are not outsourcing their training. The inability of outsourcing providers to meet companies' need. Sometimes it happens when we are taking the help of the outsourced people for the training of the company, they are not able to understand the company's need and they are not able to fulfill that particular need. Then second is the company's desire to maintain control over all aspects of the training and development, especially delivery and learning content. This is also another point when the company desire that they should take care of all the control over the training and development aspects and the delivery and learning content. In that situation also, the outsourcing people are not able to fulfill the desired requirement from the organization. So this is another point which is going to be a problem for the company. Now, on the basis of this, I have just prepared some MCQs also, and I am quite sure that the people are in a position to give the answer for these because the questions are very easy. The fundamental purpose of the existence of any organization is described by its what. Then, in fundamental purpose of an organization mission statement, then which of the following is not a characteristic of strategic management? Then, which of the following is an issue considered in developing corporate strategies? That means what businesses are we in, what directions are we going, what resources do we have to implement our strategy, and what businesses are we going to see. Then there are some other questions also, which is which of the following is not a major element of strategic management process? Formulating the strategy, implementing, evaluating, or assigning the administrative task. Then another question says that competitive advantage can be best be described as what? Increased efficiency, what sets on organizational apart, strength of the organization, or intangible sources. Then another question which I have just given here, that various organizational routines and process that determine how efficiently and effectively the organizational transforms its inputs into outputs are called what? Strength, core competencies, capability, or customer value. These are the things which we are going to talk about it, and I am quite sure that you are in a position to give the answer for this. And that's all for today. Now,